My name is Dr. Colton Junod. I am from Vincennes, so a local kid. Went to high school at Lincoln, went off to college at Butler up in Indianapolis, and then went to medical school at IU School of Medicine. And then after that, I went to IU Department of Emergency Medicine, where I trained for my specialty training in emergency medicine. So my first employment at Good Samaritan was actually in 2015. I started as a scribe in the ER during my college breaks. So I came home and started to work in the ER. So I've been there for at least started there 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. So it's been fun to be back. I kind of knew from the get-go that I thought I wanted to do emergency medicine, especially after starting my job here in 2015 as a scribe. After my first shift here as a scribe, I left and I said, I'm going to do emergency medicine. I really never looked back. There was a couple things during training that I was like, oh, maybe I would like that, but I just always came back to emergency medicine. I think ER is great because you come to work, I never know what I'm going to see in a day. Every day is different. And I love being able to, see people, infants to elderly people. I'm trained to do everything from deliver a baby to restart someone's heart. And so I just think that's a really rewarding job, and I get to see a little bit of every part of every specialty. I always felt that I was called to come back. I remember I think I probably would have been in middle school. I read an article, I'm assuming it was in the newspaper, about the rural brain drain, where people were going off to college and never coming back to the rural communities. And I always kind of thought to myself, why wouldn't I come back? I got a great experience here at Good Samaritan, especially after being a scribe here with the ER group. And I just knew that I kind of wanted to come back and take care of my friends and neighbors and family. I think it makes it more meaningful to be in a small community and really have a bigger impact. So that's kind of why I came back to Vincennes. I still have moments every day where I'm like, okay, this is the right choice that I made. I see people in the ER that I know, or I'm out at the grocery store and someone stops me and says, hey, you took care of my cousin. They, really appreciated it. And those little things make me feel good. It might seem kind of trivial, but I think that with a job that is really difficult, like emergency medicine, and having those experiences, it's kind of reassured me okay, yeah, this is the right thing. I think having those meaningful experiences here that I maybe didn't get in Indianapolis during my training is something that I kind of really cherish and kind of solidifies the reason that I'm back. Staying calm and focused in the ER is somewhat challenging. I think you get the instinct during training. Like I said, I trained in Indianapolis at 3 level 1 trauma centers downtown. And after you've had, multiple people come in at once with gunshot wounds that are critical that you have to take care of and prioritize, it kind of gets easier. In moments where it's high intensity, I try to, take control of the room, be calm, focus on and remember my training. And, there's a kind of list of priorities you have to do when someone comes in, and so just focusing on those. But it can be challenging sometimes, but luckily I have a great team here and we all know the goal of the case. And so I think that kind of helps direct that kind of chaos. There are a lot of hard days in the ER. We see people on our worst day. ER shift work, so you get to come and leave, which is nice because you don't have a lot of stuff to do at home, like charting, etc. But I think there is probably an emotional burden that we take just from this job. I've had people share secrets that they've never shared with anyone else, and you see people that really have a sensitive topic or something that's really tragic has happened to them or their family, and you have to comfort them, treat them, etc. through that. And so I think having a good team around you, especially like I do here at Good Samaritan with our ER group, Midwest Emergency Medicine, I feel that I'm very supported. I have a lot of people to talk to. And we just have great colleagues in the ER, so it makes it really easy to have those hard days because you have a lot of people around you that are going to support you. There are certainly cases that stick with me. There's a little corner of my brain that there's some people that I'll never forget, people that I treated, families that I treated. I think the one things that hit the hardest are the kids that you see, critically sick kids. In Indianapolis, I took care of a teenager that was in the hospital for several months after a traumatic accident, and we got to form a really special bond, and that was very meaningful. And so I think having those experiences kind of stick with you and kind of remind you as well why you do the job, and you kind of have to be a person too, not just a doctor. To any student that would want to go into medicine, especially high school students, I say start early. I started here as a high school volunteer in 2011, passing out waters on the 5th floor of Columbian Towers on Med-Surg. I took vitals and post recovery and endoscopy since my freshman summer Those nurses taught me all, how to take care of patients, how to interact with patients, how to take vitals, and I credit them for me being a doctor to this day.